Lilith is in Virgo now. Lilith is our untamed self, the part of us that is wild. But this is obviously a collective thing because this is Lilith by transit. So Lilith has come into Virgo on the 3rd of October and will leave on the 29th of June 2024 because, as you know, she stays a very, very long time in each sign. In fact, Lilith is one of the generational indicators. You'll find that most people born near you will have the same Lilith. So what does it mean when Lilith, this untamed, wild, taboo-breaking point or energy, comes into the sign of Virgo, which is the sign of service, of precision, of analysis, of criticism, of craft, of doing things really, really well, of health to some extent and unhealth, lack of health. What does it mean when Lilith comes in there? Well, it means that all of those areas become more tumultuous, possibly more unruly, and more creative at the same time. So we've seen Lilith going through Leo, which is the sign of, among other things, royalty, and there's been quite a bit of turmoil in that area for the last 9 months, and now it's moving into Virgo, which is the sign of servants as well. And when we talk about servants and service, you have to remember that we mean people who are, of service in a major way. For example, I'm thinking actually of Malala Yousafzai, the activist for women's education from Pakistan, who was shot in the head and then actually came to Oxford, got a degree, and has been died and came back to life almost. Well, she actually has Lilith in Virgo, which I think is quite interesting because there are quite a few campaigners who campaign from the outside and then campaign from what seems like about what seems like fringe ideas, and then come in to the establishment eventually in their lives, who have that Lilith in Virgo, because Lilith is also about what is fringe, what is not accepted, what is not the accepted idea. And I'm thinking particularly of abolitionists, for example. I was looking for poets who had Lilith in Virgo, and especially nature poets, because I was thinking, we'll get to the nature part of this in a minute, but I was thinking about how incredibly empowering it is having Lilith and Virgo for people who, for nature poets, because it's Virgo, which is the sign of writing, plus Lilith, this wildness. But I was also interested when I was looking at this campaign to find that William Cowper, the 18th century poet, was also an abolitionist, and he wrote a poem to William Wilberforce, who was the big anti-slavery campaigner here in this country in 1791, which I won't read all of, but I will read you a tiny little extractola of it. And it sort of describes slightly this kind of Lilith feeling initially, because there's a sonnet to William Wilberforce. Thy country, Wilberforce, with just disdain hears thee, by cruel men and impious, called fanatic for thy zeal to loose the enthralled from exile, public sale, and slavery's chain. So he's talking about someone who is cast out, who's Lilith, because he's defending the slaves. He's defending the people who have been enslaved by the British Empire. And then he says at the end of this sonnet, enjoy what thou hast won, esteem and love for all the just on earth and all the blessed above. So he's talking about how doing something that is outside the establishment, outside what's normal, outside what's accepted, actually can win you great love from those of us who are not in that inner circle. And that is quite an interesting concept. It's a Lilith style concept, and I notice this a lot when I'm dealing with Lilith, that what may start off as an outsider's view becomes the actual normal view. So it's partly, and Lilith in Virgo is to do with how powerful, for a lot of Lilith and Virgo people, how powerful the words can be when you use them precisely, profoundly, exactly. So there's that aspect of Lilith and Virgo. The other aspect I want to just talk about a little bit is Lilith and wildness and nature.